I'm a firm believer that you don't need high CCs and heaps of horsepower to have fun on a motorcycle. This episode of Biker Talk is part 1 of monkeys, mud and mindfulness. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, my name's Dave. I've been riding since I was about 10 years old. I'm 49 next week, so I've been riding the majority of my life. Well, when I was a kid, I used to walk past this motorbike shop on the way home, and I always wanted one. I was like, oh, I wish I had one of those. And I had a really dodgy old bike there that had been sitting there for years and never been used. And I managed to coax the bloke into selling it to me for 10 bucks. I must have been about, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old. Got it home, worked on it for months. We got the damn thing going, and that was my first bike, and it was, that's how I got into it. And you know what it's like. As soon as you're on one bike, you're on the next bike, the next one, the next one. It's pretty damn addictive. The bike I've had the longest is my Z50, 1977 model. I've had this for about 12 years. I bought it fully restored off a guy who just, put his heart and soul into doing it up. Reason why I got that bike is when I was a young bloke, there was lots of kids that had Z50s. I never had one. Always wanted one, and when I finally had enough money to buy one, I snapped up the first one that I came across that looked the goods. Usually starts first kick, it's 40-something years old, and I just love it. I love the looks that people give me when I'm on it, because I'm a lump of a thing and it's a tiny little bike. And maxing out at about 70 kilometres an hour if you're down a hill with a nice tailwind, It doesn't have the longest legs. It's pretty much stock. It started out as a 50cc, now it's 88cc, so it's been bored out a little bit just to help it keep up with traffic. It's got standard carby, standard brakes, pretty much everything on it is as it came out of the factory, with a little bit of bling stuck in there now. So she's not the most comfortable bike, she's not the fastest bike, but I'll tell you what, it's a head turner wherever you go. My most recent bike's the WR250F, it's a 2020 model. I got that last year. It's actually a step back from some of the other bikes that I had, as I sort of appreciate that I'm not getting any younger, and I probably don't need things that are quite as quick. So it's been a really great transition bike to sort of step back into something. It's still a load of fun, it's got a ton of power, it's still really agile, it does all those things that I want, but it's reliable, I reckon it looks pretty good. It just seems to do everything I want without having to sort of trick it up or do too much to it. Not really a commuter. I go down the coffee shop every now and again on the bike just to get out of the house and grab a coffee, but most of my riding is actually enduro sort of riding, off-road, fire trails, tracks with the kids, those sorts of things. I'm working Sydney a lot of the time, so I don't actually do much of that commute up there. I'm not a huge fan of the road riding, but I love the off-road stuff. I reckon if I could have a bike, one more bike, it maybe would be like a CR125, one of the old ones. Something that, I don't know what it's like for others out there, but when I was a teenager, I used to look at these kids that had these sort of, the YZ125s and the CR125s and these really mint sort of old bikes. And back in the day when the power band was just absolutely ruthless and the suspension was sort of nowhere near as good as what they are these days, but I'd love to have an old classic bike like that just to zip around on every now and again. And if I can find one, I'll probably end up getting one too. Most interesting place I've ridden was Cambodia. For my 40th, convinced a couple of mates to jump on a plane with me, go over, hire some dirt bikes and ride across Cambodia. Hooked up with a tour guide in Phnom Penh, and we jumped on some XR250s and some WRs. Various levels of experience with the guys that we were on the trip with. Some of them turned up on the trip thinking we were riding scooters, like you might do in somewhere like Bali. So with that ride there, we got in Phnom Penh and we rode up to Siem Reap. We went all backcountry the whole way. We stayed with villagers, we slept on their floors, and we had this tour guide and a sweeper just navigating through the backcountry of Cambodia, through the villages and seeing all the little kids and everything and going into all the temples. It was just incredible. Terrifying, you realised how isolated you were, things went wrong, which does happen on big trips like that, but it was just an amazing experience. After day one, we were all ready to go home, what have we done? We've made a big mistake here, this is a bit too full on, but or day 5 or 6, everyone was just realising this was just one of those once in a lifetime opportunities. I would love to sort of, look at going and doing that Trail of Genghis Khan. I think that would be something, the Mongolian ride. So where you pack up and you go for a week or two, and you just follow the trail of Genghis. I reckon that would be one of those ones that you'd never forget. So I think that one there, Mongolia, would through the back end of Russia and sort of down through towards China, I think that would be an incredible opportunity and something that would be loads of fun to do.
I hope you enjoyed part 1 of Monkeys, Mud and Mindfulness. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can ride a motorcycle, and that's kind of the same thing.